Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, but still everything kept going wrong? You try hard to stay positive. You say affirmations every day. You read books about spirituality and manifestation. You repeat mantras. You visualize the best. But for some inexplicable reason, it seems like life insists on giving you exactly what you want to avoid the most. As if behind everything you say, the universe is listening. Something else, something deeper, something that you yourself may not even realize. Her name was Mary. She was 36 years old, lived in the outskirts of Pittsburgh, and worked as a secretary at a public school. Her life was simple. She woke up early, organized the day's papers, wrote down messages, helped teachers, smiled kindly at everyone. But she carried an invisible exhaustion in her eyes. During her breaks, she read books about spirituality, listened to podcasts about the law of attraction, and wrote daily in her affirmations notebook. Mary believed in the power of the mind, in vibration, in the signs of the universe. But even so, her life seemed stagnant. She was tired of living the same cycles, relationships that didn't work out, financial problems that kept recurring, a loneliness that insisted on returning, as if she was stuck in an invisible loop that no one else could see. This channel is not just about stories. It's about hidden codes, codes that are behind the reality you live in. And perhaps without realizing it, you have been trying to decipher them for years. Here, each case is a key, a clue, a mirror of what you may also be experiencing. Today, what you are about to hear seems impossible, but when you understand the universal laws, the impossible becomes just misunderstood. Mary was doing everything right. She knew what to say, she knew what to think, but she didn't know she was feeling the opposite. As she said, "I am secure," her body was vibrating with anxiety. As she thought, "I am prosperous," an inner voice was saying, "This isn't for me." Deep down, Mary wasn't creating the reality she wanted. She was attracting the very thing she feared most. But how could you blame someone who was just trying to get it right? That was the silent pain, doing everything you could to get better, and still seeing everything get worse. The signs began discreetly. Small setbacks, frustrated relationships, a feeling of tiredness for no reason. But over time, everything became more intense. And when she least expected it, what she feared the most happened. That which she believed she was avoiding so strongly materialized before her eyes. Have you ever experienced something similar? Have you ever wondered if you are doing everything right, but reality seems to laugh at you from behind the veil? Then write here in the comments, "I've felt that before." Sharing can help you understand what is still hidden. Watch this video until the end. Every detail could be a missing piece in your own puzzle. Leave your like now if this has already touched you, and subscribe to the channel, because maybe your story is about to be deciphered too. Mary has always been a hard-working woman, one of those who doesn't wait for someone to solve their life for them. He grew up hearing that he needed to be strong, independent, that he couldn't show weakness. And she followed that advice to the letter. She worked hard from an early age, earned her space, and did everything on her own. But inside, I carried the tiredness of someone who is always on alert, always trying to prevent the next pain from happening. Little by little, she began to feel that something was out of place. Even when everything seemed normal on the outside, there was a constant feeling that the ground could collapse at any moment. That was when she decided to delve deeper into studying spirituality. She started with books about the mind, then discovered the law of attraction, videos about frequency, energy, and co-creation. She created a routine. Every morning, before leaving for work, she would write phrases in her notebook. "I am abundant. I am loved. Everything is working out." But the truth, then, is that Mary didn't believe in almost any of it. She wanted to believe, she tried. But every time she wrote, "I am safe," a part of her whispered, "You know you are not." When she said, "I am ready to receive," her body reacted with fear, as if something bad were coming. At work, she hid it with a smile. No one knew that she cried alone when she got home. Mary didn't talk about it with anyone, because in her mind, if she was experiencing something bad, it was her own fault. After all, she was the creator of her own reality, wasn't she? Over time, she convinced herself that she was getting better. After all, she was following all the steps, thinking positively, visualizing, moving away from bad thoughts. But there was one detail, the reason behind it all. Mary wasn't doing it out of trust. She was doing it out of fear. Each statement was, in fact, a desperate attempt to stop what she feared most. She didn't want to lose anyone else. She didn't want to fail again. She didn't want to relive the pain of the last time she felt rejected, discarded, invisible. And that's when life began to respond, not in an obvious way, but with signs that were becoming more intense. Small, unexpected events. People moving away. Invitations that didn't come. Plans that fell apart at the last minute. And instead of asking herself what's wrong, Mary tried to vibrate louder. She forced smiles, avoided talking about fear, and avoided vulnerability as if it were poison, until everything exploded. The most promising relationship of recent years ended in silence. The money that had come with effort stopped arriving. The rent was late. The feeling of loneliness so deep that not even meditation could silence it. It was as if the universe had closed all the doors at once. She looked in the mirror and could only ask herself, why? If she was doing everything right, why did? It felt like she was being punished, but the universe does not punish, it reflects. And Mary didn't yet know that behind every attempt at control, she was vibrating at the exact frequency of what she most wanted to avoid. And when the vibration is fear, loss, scarcity, reality responds, not out of cruelty, but for energetic coherence. And that's when everything started to change, but not in the way you expect. This part of the story is what only those who live it can understand. What about you? Have you ever found yourself repeating to yourself, it's going to work out, it's going to work out, but deep down feeling that tightness in your chest that just won't go away? Have you ever had the feeling that you're doing everything they say in books, videos, and techniques, but that your reality simply isn't keeping up? As if there's a delay between what you want and what you're experiencing. Or worse, as if the universe had confused your request and delivered exactly the opposite. Maybe you, like Mary, are vibrating something that you don't even know about. Because the truth is that we learn to say the right things, to repeat powerful phrases, to try to shield our minds, but no one teaches us to look at what's behind the words. No one talks about that feeling hidden deep in our stomach, that voice that says, I believe, but whispers, what if everything goes wrong again? And the cruelest thing is that you want to believe so much that you start to blame yourself when things don't work out, as if the problem were you, as if there was something broken inside you. But you are not broken. You are just vibrating. What you lived, what marked you, what hurt you, even without realizing it. It's hard to admit this. It's hard to realize that there's no point in smiling on the outside if your heart is still at war. That there's no point in wishing for abundance if you still feel ashamed of having dreamed too much in the past and fallen. That there's no point in saying you trust if inside everything screams that something is going to go wrong. You know that feeling of being tired without having done anything. That emotional exhaustion of trying, and it seems like the universe is always one step behind, testing you. Maybe this is happening because your vibration doesn't come from what you want, but from what you fear losing. And this is where a lot of people give up. When they realize it's not about technique, it's not about ritual, it's not about knowing the right words, it's about feeling. It's about recognizing what's still vibrating without you realizing it. The unresolved abandonment, the fear of not being enough, the pain of having trusted and regretted it. All of this vibrates, all of this communicates with the universe. Even when you're silent, the universe doesn't listen to your words. It feels your essence. And that's why sometimes you say you want love, but you only attract rejection. You say you want stability, but you live in chaos. Because the strongest vibration doesn't come from what you say. It comes from what you carry. And maybe now you're starting to understand. Maybe you're seeing yourself in Mary. Maybe you're remembering times when you tried to make it work. And it seemed like the universe didn't care. But what if he was, yes, listening, responding, just not to what you said but to what you vibrated? That's when Mary began to see Not with her eyes, but with her soul. And what she realized changed everything. Mary began to realize that there was something deeper going on, something that couldn't be explained by phrases or positive thoughts. It wasn't about what she said with her mouth or what she wrote in her notebook every morning. It was about how she felt when she was alone, when the house was silent, when the world stopped, and her only company was her own reflection in the mirror. It was at this point that she began to question everything she thought she knew about manifestation, because despite repeating that she was prosperous, secure, loved, her life showed the opposite. And it wasn't bad luck. It wasn't punishment. It was something else, a hidden logic, an invisible system that she had never learned to decipher. And that's when the pieces started to fall into place, as if, deep down, your soul already knew. All that was left was to remember. Here come 3 universal laws that few people truly understand. 3 spiritual principles that govern everything, even when we are not aware of it. The first is the she gives mentalism. She says it all starts in the mind. But be careful, it's not what you think consciously. It's what you believe deeply. It is that silent certainty that hides behind words. Mary thought, I am strong, but she believed I am too fragile to be loved. She thought I am worthy, but she felt I am always forgotten. And it is this hidden belief, this internal programming, that gives command to the universe, because the conscious mind speaks. But the subconscious vibrates, and it is the subconscious that creates. Then comes the law of vibration. Everything is energy. Everything vibrates, including you. Every thought, every emotion, every sensation sends a signal to the field around you. Fear vibrates with lack. Guilt vibrates with punishment. Anxiety vibrates with lack of control. And the universe, like an exact mirror, returns what you are, emitting. Even if it is unintentional, even if it is silent. Mary thought she was vibrating love, but her body vibrated abandonment. She thought she was attracting prosperity, but her heart pulsed scarcity. Her vibration did not come from what she wanted, it came from what she feared. And here comes the third law of cause and effect. Nothing happens by chance. Everything you emanate comes back. It doesn't matter if you say, I want someone who chooses me. If you vibrate, no one ever stays. The universe responds to that frequency, because it doesn't judge, it doesn't analyze, it only obeys, it only gives back. Mary didn't create her worst reality because she wanted it. Of course not. She created it because she didn't know she was vibrating fear the whole time. And that's what almost no one understands. Manifestation is not about willpower. It's about vibrational coherence. When what you think, feel, and believe are out of alignment, life responds to the strongest. And the strongest is almost always what's hidden. What you pretend you've overcome, what you've buried out of shame, trauma, or survival, but it's still vibrating. And it was when Mary understood this, truly, in her heart, that something inside her began to give way. Because for the first time, she stopped fighting reality, and she began to see what reality was trying to show her. But the most incredible thing happened when Mary simply stopped. It wasn't a scheduled break. It wasn't a planned moment of self-care or a sudden enlightenment in the middle of meditation. It was a tiredness that came from within. A tiredness that did not scream, but begged in silence. She looked around, saw her life dismantled into pieces, and felt that she no longer had the strength to continue pretending that everything was fine. For the first time, Mary admitted that she was exhausted from trying to control the uncontrollable. She was tired of smiling when she wanted to scream. She was tired of repeating mantras that no longer made sense. She was tired of blaming herself for everything that was going wrong. It was like something inside her broke. But instead of pain, there was a strange relief. She didn't have to fight anymore. She didn't have to prove that she was strong, spiritual, or aware anymore. She was just tired. And it was exactly there, at the deepest point, where the light seemed not to reach, that something began to change. Not in the outside world, not yet, but inside it. Mary didn't give up on life. She gave up the mask, and that made all the difference. Because for the first time, she stopped trying to manifest to escape the pain, and he began to look the pain in the eyes. He began to listen to what that sadness had to say, and she discovered that behind every fear, there was a part of her that just wanted to be embraced, not corrected, not silenced, just heard. That was when she realized that trying to control reality was, deep down, a form of distrust. She said she trusted the universe, but she spent her days watching for signs, analyzing every event, trying to force synchronicities as if she needed to prove that everything was aligning. When she let go, when she truly surrendered, there was no explosive magic. There was silence, peace, a pause that seemed impossible amidst the chaos. And in that empty space, without expectation, her vibration changed. She was no longer creating out of fear. She was creating out of acceptance, out of presence, out of truth. And life, as it always does, responded. Little things started happening. An unexpected invitation, a sincere conversation, a payment that fell at just the right time. People started to notice something different about her, even without knowing how to explain it. She felt it herself. It was as if the air was lighter, as if the days had stopped weighing her down. Reality had not changed overnight, but something inside it had, and that was enough for the world to begin to reflect itself, because the universe does not punish. He reflects. And what Mary began to reflect on was no longer fear. It was authenticity, it was presence. It was an energy that said, I no longer pretend to be okay, I choose to be whole. And it was there that the impossible began to reorganize. Itself, effortless, no control, no masks, only with truth. And it is when truth finds space that the universe responds like a clean mirror. No distortions, no delays. Just the pure response of what finally began to vibrate coherently again. If you felt that in some way, this story also spoke about yours, write the word here in the comments, I woke up. This simple gesture can be a turning point, not only for you, but for anyone who reads it and recognizes themselves. Because when we share our truth, healing spreads. Leave a like right now if this video brought you clarity. And subscribe to the channel because this is just the beginning. Every week you will find real stories, vibrational mirrors and hidden codes that can explain what no one has ever told you about your own life. And in the next episode, you'll learn the story of a woman who only attracted painful relationships. She was always left. She was always replaced until she realized the abandonment didn't come from outside. It was a reflection of what she felt inside and the invisible pattern she had carried since childhood. If you want to understand why love hurts and how to heal the emotional mirror that is attracting all of this, this next case will open a new door within you. See you there.